camera must emulate the action. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's the golden rule. No clickbait around these parts. Feel free to stop the video right now and, do your own research on the matter or go about your business. You got what you clicked for. In my opinion, this is the basis of everything that has to do with filming skateboarding and filming action sports in general. And if you're not doing that, then whatever you're filming is lost on the viewer, even if the viewer is an actual skater, all right? So, no further ado, let's get right into the video. Let's get into the breakdown. Right, so what I meant by breakdown was I'm going to be explaining to you a few things that I'm taking for granted that you would already know based on what I explained in my first video, all right? Now that video is a bit of a long one, so I won't blame you if you don't want to watch through all of it, but this is just the gist of what I explained, all right? If you need help or need more details, do go ahead and watch that video. The first technique that I'll be mentioning a lot in this video, I call it the 5 keyframes, and it is my main approach to doing what I told you about earlier, so the camera emulating the action. Those keyframes are as follows. The starting keyframe, the starting framing, where you see the obstacle that we're about to skate and you see the skater in the frame. The next important keyframe is the end frame at the end, where we see the obstacle we just skated and we see the skater off somewhere in the same frame. Now, the 3 frames in the middle are the important ones. You have one at the pop, right here, one in the middle of the trick, and one where the skater lands. As soon as they land, or just about, you put in a keyframe there. The main thing about this 5 keyframe combo is what happens in between these 3. So for the pop and the land, the camera is angled relatively low, or the horizon is centered like we have here. So keyframe number 2 and 4, camera angle low or centered. For the middle keyframe, we're angling the camera up high. This conveys the movement that the skater's body is doing through the air, right? Skater goes up, camera pans upwards. Skater goes down, camera goes downwards. That's my main way of emulating action through camera work. The next technique that I'll be referring to a lot is something that I call the whoosh, where the skater starts off their trick to one side of the screen and ends their trick on the other side of the screen. So they whoosh across the screen during their trick. This conveys a little bit more speed and intensity during the trick, all right? This is something you see very, very often in most skate videos and most fisheye shots, all right? The whoosh. The next technique is something that I call a pivot. This is something that I use to put more emphasis on the spot itself rather than just the trick. So notice that we're farther from the skater now, and we're pivoting around a point that's in front of the camera, all right? So this way we see the spot in its entirety, we see the whole trick still, but we put more emphasis on the traveling, right? The space, the environment. The next technique is what I call a panning shot for close-ups, right? A close-up panning shot maybe, and it looks a little bit more like this. So as we can see, we're obviously much more close to the actual trick. This is for putting emphasis on the trick itself, all right? So the same thing with the same number of keyframes. We're starting very close. We're still emulating action through camera work. We're going up and down as the skater's going up and down. We're just very close. And we still have a whoosh in here as well, right to left, all right? It's just now we're very close. A word of caution, be careful not to have your camera angles change too drastically from one keyframe to another, because that's going to make some really erratic camera work if you're not careful with a close-up like this. But the important thing here is it's subtle, but it's there, all right? We're not exaggerating the camera angle changes too much. It's subtle, but it's there. Those are words to live by, all right? In terms of camera angle changes from one keyframe to the next. Now, for my next trick, we're at D7. D7 in New York. So they put this behind Madison Park if you want to warp to it. They put this in this little dead end. It's a little bit hard to find, but whatever, you'll figure it out. And yeah, this spot in real life is called the D7 blocks in New York. If you want to look it up on ABD archive and figure out some historical challenges without cheating, go for it. Whatever. Let's get back to the topic at hand. So here's the trick. Nollie back lip, gap nollie back lip on the D7 rail here. And as you can see, we're not going very fast here. I didn't want to overshoot the rail and get one of those wobbly board slides that this game does sometimes. So we're gonna have to compensate for that with the filming, all right? So speaking of filming, let's do it. Let's take a look at the shot. Break out the fisheye, fix the field of view bug, put on montage view, and do it. Let's see how I filmed it. Amazing. It makes me smile every time. I cannot get tired of this. Let's do it. Let's take a look at the shot. Break out the fisheye, fix the field of view bug, put on montage view, and do it. Let's see how I filmed it. Amazing. It makes me smile every time. I cannot get tired of this. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very proud with how this came out because I threw everything I had at this trick. First of all, I need to clarify the reasoning behind my camera work, alright? So, what am I trying to represent here? We have a beautiful spot to look at, so I want to put emphasis on this spot, right? The surroundings are nice to look at, and I want them to stick out. Next, we have a really long slide, right? So, I want the viewer to feel the length of this slide, right? No innuendo here. And the other thing is we're compensating for that slow speed I was mentioning. Now, it's important to note that the fisheye, the bubble effect on the fisheye, is doing a lot of that work already, but we can definitely boost that if we have a whoosh in there, right? So a whoosh, even just something like this, right? Just free camming it makes it look so much better and faster. So it's a tall order. It's a tall order. I want to make the spot stand out. I want to make the slide stand out. So I'm thinking of making a pivot shot, putting emphasis on the spot, combined with a panning shot, putting emphasis on the trick itself in the last part of the trick. And that's what I ended up doing. Let's take a look at it with that in mind. Pivot, pan in. There we go. There we go. And the whoosh happens where it should. From the start of the pop to the rail, the landing on the rail. The last part of the whoosh, there's a little bit of travel time left that I delayed a little bit for the slide, all right? So, with all that in mind, does the camera emulate the action? What action do we have going on here, right? We're up high on something, and that's the reason why the camera is angled upward to start with. That's something I did a little bit differently. So we're up on something high, we're going up even higher by popping, and now we're landing on the rail. From here to here is where the camera starts moving in, closing in, but also angling down from up to down, right? To really push it to the viewer that we're going from up to down here, all right? And from here we have a pan in to put the rail in the center of the screen. And this puts emphasis on how huge it is, right? And that's how a real filmer would go about it. They would have a steady hand and they wouldn't start twitching and getting overly excited for the shot, all right? That would just be considered a redo, and that would suck. If the skater lands this trick and the filmer goes, "Oh shoot, my guy, can you do it again?" Horrible, horrible. Fire that guy right away. Anyways, I want to just show by example what this would look like if we didn't do all of that. If we just filmed it with a standard old shot, right? Something like this. So this is the first keyframe. Let's do it on the fly right now. I'm just going from one keyframe to the other and just changing the position of the keyframes, all right? So a standard shot would warrant a downward angle for the pop, an upward camera angle for the actual middle of the trick, skater is center, and the landing on the other side of the screen, with the skater on the other side of the screen. And here's how that would look, all right? Something like this. So honestly, that doesn't look bad. It's a legit standard shot. Still, we still have everything. Camera emulates the action. We're going up, we're sliding down. The whoosh is there. It's all there. But this is D7, you know? This is a giant gap to rail.
Gio Moya ollied over this rail. We go look at it. I think it was filmed kind of close, so you couldn't really tell. You couldn't really see the whole spot. But then I remember when I came here, I was like, oh, that's that thing Gio ollied. Which is crazy when you think about it. You got to ollie so far away.
This is enormous, right? Seeing this in real life, you want the viewer to feel like history was made, right? And not just another shot in the video, right? You don't want the viewer to zone out while watching your videos. So this doesn't have enough impact, point being. And if we remove those changes that I made, we can see now the spot, D7, it's huge, it's grandiose. Everything is so much more accentuated. So this goes to show that you can always do more. There's no such thing as the perfect shot, all right? Now, I want to stress the fact that this is a complicated shot. There are lots of components, lots of details. This goes to show how far you can push it, all right? Through patience, through experimentation. And I want you to experiment with the keyframes, with the angles, right? This isn't meant to discourage you. This isn't meant to show you that, oh, you know, it's a never-ending path up the mountain of skate filming, right? It's the fact that you can always do more, you can always make yourself better by doing tiny adjustments. Every single clip, you can make your own skill develop. So take the techniques that I'm showing you, make them your own, change them up as much as you want, right? Experiment, change the keyframes. I have my own goofy names for the techniques, but they exist. You see them in videos all over the place and people use them. So before we go completely insane with skate filming theory, let's end the video now, all right? And let's go to the outro because I'm starting to feel like the guy in this meme that I'm posting on screen now. Anyways, that's it. We're done. We're out. All right. Oh, that was a sick hard flip. I really hope this was a much better source of information for setting yourself up with some proper fisheye filming for your stationary one-off shots, all right? One trick at a time. I'll never say it enough. The camera must emulate the action. And if you don't have that in your shots, your tricks will be lost on the viewer, all right? It doesn't even matter if it's a skater, all right? The true feeling of doing the trick itself is gonna be lost and it won't be conveyed properly. And the video won't be as entertaining and it won't be showing what we're trying to show. So keep that in mind and find your own way to express it at the very least. Let's get a buttery tray flip lip here. Oh, that was a Smith. That's so much better. That was it. That was it. I'm wishing you patience for your practice, and I'll see you in the next one.